Anti-gunners capitalize on death. A girl sues her parents for being born. And Trump makes fun of Biden on stage. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Wass. A disturbing thing is happening within the anti-gun lobby groups as their fearful rhetoric loses its impact on rational thinking people. In a recent post on X, Every Town for Gun Safety and March for Our Lives appear to be trying to make gun-free zone school killings a national holiday by revisiting the tragedies annually. The politically motivated gun grabbers in America watch children get killed in schools, publicize the death under the guise of virtue, and continue to support the very laws that are responsible for the loss of life. Deadly gun-free zones are supported by those who claim to want the killing to stop. In this X post by Every Town for Gun Safety, the group is specifically calling for less security at schools. Now, since Biden's Gun-Free School Zones Act became law, school killings have doubled and continue to increase at twice the rate of increase every 10 years. Groups like Giffords, Moms Demand, and March for Our Lives do nothing to implement protection for students, but they do take advantage of the dangerous policy and fight to keep it in place. In this photo, we see Every Town trying to keep armed security out of schools. If the political left really cared about the children, they would promote armed security at school entrances and the ability of staff to be properly equipped to defend the children. But they don't, because if they did, they'd be admitting that it takes a good guy with a gun to stop a bad guy with a gun. Now, this undermines their entire anti-gun fear campaign. So they continue to put children in danger and blame others for the problems that they perpetuate. So like all propaganda, anti-gun propaganda requires constant effort and must be consistently pushed and paid for. When trying to manipulate the thought process of people through propaganda, a steady stream must be maintained, especially when the message goes against our natural instinct. In this case, rational people understand that without a gun, you have no chance of defending yourself against a killer. So when anti-gun propaganda stops, rational thought gravitates back toward the basic logic that firearms are the ultimate life-preserving tool. So anti-gun propaganda must be a constant grinding emotional machine. In order to keep people in support of illogical ideas, the propagandists cannot let up. The people inside these groups seem to be of two mindsets: those who understand they're being deceitful and those who have been manipulated to the point that they believe their efforts are actually good. Both these type of people are dangerous. So we're going to talk about this and many other things with, he's the inquisitive gift that keeps on giving, John Chiara. And he refuses to discuss his criminal record in public, Anthony Diso.
Wow. And for a mere $10, I can forward you those documents.
You can Venmo me and I'll tell you.
Oh, boy. All right. So, is the anti-gun lobbying groups capitalizing on death? I mean, do they use the deaths to stand on the graves of children? What are your thoughts?
Didn't somebody just get prosecuted for that and lost hundreds of millions of dollars?
Oh, yeah. There's actually a couple cases.
Yeah, what's that guy's name?
Are you talking about you're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse?
No. The guy that talked about Sandy Hook being a hoax, and then Alex Jones
fined him $1 billion.
Didn't he just get fined $1 billion for supposedly lying about something? Yeah. But these guys can just go out and
continue to say whatever they want.
Hey, by the way, your kids got killed. I'm just going to capitalize on it.
Yep.
Oh, sad.
Double standard there. I like it.
Well, I mean, we talk about a lot of stuff in politics and in the media where they do that, and I mean, just anything like the double standard, like Nicholas Sandmann. Remember, they made up all this crap about him. Were they ever held accountable? No.
Oh.
They can talk about how gun-free school zones are good, and they can support the legislation. People get killed. Are they ever held accountable? No.
Like we said, cost benefit, never done.
What do you mean?
They never do. They never look at that stuff and say, "Ooh, this is good, but this part of it's bad. Let's figure out what we should do here." We'll take what we need to make our point, and if it's wrong, well, sorry.
Well, the problem is because the bad part doesn't actually affect them.
Absolutely.
They own, like the people dying, that doesn't affect them. That's actually a benefit to some of these media, because I think they can't wait for a killing, especially if it's a killing with a gun, because they get to capitalize on it. So there's really no downside for them. If, however, we held them accountable some way, then there might be a downside.
You only save one life across state lines.
What were we just talking about? Were you and I just talking about that? If you just save one life, I forget what the concept was, but they're
Well, lately, again, I'm seeing more and more arguments.
oh, with the illegals coming over.
Right.
Okay. So you get this illegal coming over, and he kills this girl, right, who's jogging at her college campus.
This is an actual story that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the left goes, well, we can't paint all illegals with this broad brush, right? It was only this one guy who did it, right? But when it comes to somebody, gun control, we got to ban all the guns because one lunatic uses a gun, right? So it's a double standard.
Exactly. And you're a racist.
And
you're a racist.
Just as a frosting on top, you're a racist.
You're a racist. What is this? Toby Keith?
Oh, I didn't think about that, but that's
People don't know John has a little drinking problem, folks. So
I prefer whole milk.
what's in the cup today?
It's butterscotch.
I did eat some whole milk Greek yogurt last night, and let me tell you what, it's pretty darn good.
Tell us about the Greek yogurt. Actually, don't.
It's
it's a waste of time.
creamy. It's a texture thing. You have to get used to it.
So what do you got in there? Bourbon or vodka today?
Looks like vodka. I pressed the blue lever. What does that mean? What comes out of the machine?
Cold vodka. The red lever is for hot vodka, and
Oh boy.
and the blue is for cold.
Well, I guess I'm getting drunk today. I love their their idea of having officers out of the school because they don't want more violence. Or the cops going to kill kids?
Same thing as all those legal guns killing all those people. It just looks that way. It's got to be.
You know what? And we need to do some research into the morons that are in that group and see if they actually have carry concealed weapon permits. I bet you they do.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet you they just do this just because they're just garbage cans.
Well, they're getting paid, because here's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
These on social media, you go to any of these groups on social media, Every Town, Giffords, Mom's Demand. They block me. I've just been blocked by Every Town, by the way. But anyway, that's kind of a little feather in my cap.
You're a renegade, Dan.
Well, they hate my guts. So because I'm constantly telling them, along with many other people, which is my point, you look at their comments, and 100% of the comments are pro-gun, anti-gun control. So they're preaching to us, the people who are mostly gun owners, and they don't have any support on their social media, which is really interesting.
Huh.
But they're making money off of the hits that you're doing.
Probably, yeah. So they're still getting. I'm telling you, I challenge you. Go to Every Town or Giffords. And
You know what? I just found something new for you to do.
What's that?
You're taking time off of Facebook. You should go to their Instagram sites and start some.
I want to go to Florida and carry a 45 in my Speedo on the beach.
That's not something I want to see.
Oh God! Now we got that image.
Me doing it or Dan?
I'm not doing.
Is that a challenge?
Dan sent me pictures of his outfit last night. I'm like, what the heck is
What?
this?
What are you talking about? That's because of the vodka joke, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm
All right, just getting
pouring
me
a cup
back.
in here. Look out.
But no, go to Giffords, for instance. Go to Giffords' social media on Facebook or Twitter actually, and every time they post something, they don't get a lot of comments, so they're not getting a lot of traffic on social media. But all the comments are pro-gun, telling them basically to go, crap in their hat.
Crap in their hat.
I'm trying to say it nice, But which brings me to all the laws and all these blue state laws and gun laws. And if you happen to live in one of these states like we do, unfortunately, and you have an AR-15, there is a device called the Cali Key. And I want everybody to know about it because it's an incredible piece of equipment that these really intelligent guys have created. So the device, the Cali Key, removes your AR from the definition of assault weapon. So did you know that when they create these so-called assault weapon ban lists, the lists exclude manually operated like bolt action rifles. So just by dropping the Cali Key into your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you'll have a bolt action rifle that falls outside the definition of an assault weapon. So you don't need to do anything else. But give the Cali Key a look, because you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, and enhance long-range precision and quiet or suppressed shooting. Cali Key has state-specific attorney opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. Cali Key's mission is to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So go to CaliKey.com, check these guys out, CaliKey.com, and use the discount code LOADED, CaliKey.com. Okay, so moving on. I think it's time for a Woke Patrol.
Woke Patrol.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
All right, so in this Woke Patrol, we're going to hear from an indoctrinated, irresponsible wokester who would rather sue her parents than take responsibility for her own life. Check this out.
I sued my parents for having me without my permission. So my parents that I sued, they contributed to, conceiving me, and my mother that raised me, she gave birth to me. And that's why I sued them, because I did not consent to being here. Like, I was unaware that I was going to have to grow up and get a job to support myself, and I just didn't consent to that. They didn't try to contact me in any way before I was born to see if I actually wanted to be here, and that's why I sued them. Now, it's different. Like, I know I've said it's like unethical to have children before, but it's different when you adopt, because it's not my fault that they're here. I'm just trying to be a good person and like help them out. You know what I mean?
You're ugly.
So yeah, if you are pregnant right now, you need to hire a psychic medium and ask your child if they actually want to be here. But keep in mind, if they don't, you need to terminate. Otherwise, they will sue you. Because I'm making that my life mission, to teach children to sue their parents so they don't have to work.
Yes, my parents did kick me out on my 18th birthday. They actually came into my room the day I turned 18. They had keys in their hands, and they were like, "These are yours to your new place. You cannot stay here. Get out." And I just wasn't expecting that, It's like, I thought I was going to get like a happy birthday or something, but they were just like, "We've done our job, get out." So I go to my new house, and the one they bought me was only 1,200 square foot. The house I grew up in was like 4,500, and it had a home theater, in-ground pool, tennis court. It was like staying at a resort. And I just wasn't expecting that, and that's when I first started considering like suing them. And then later on, I was asking them, I was like, "Hey, look, you raised me in one lifestyle, and then all of a sudden just kick me out, and I'm living in a 1,200 square foot home with like normal people, And they were like, "You got to learn some responsibility. If you want more, go get a job." And I was like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be here. And it was then that I decided, they don't want to help me. I'm just going to take them to court and make them help me.
What do you think?
Just give her a gun. Let her take care of herself.
Hey, do you want to come into this world?
Well, that's not convincing. How about this?
You want to come in?
Oh,
Maybe you're just in the early stages.
Just in the early, you're in your first trimester.
I'm in the third.
you guys don't listen.
Oh my God.
But she ended up going further though, and actually took them to court.
Yeah,
And she lost. She wanted $5,000. She won $5,000 a month.
she did.
She did, but then
Oh.
another judge reversed it and told her to kick rocks.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, there's another part of that. But yeah, she did actually sue them and did win the settlement. But then another judge, a higher judge, said no,
Because the parents appealed it, probably.
appealed it and said absolutely not. You get a job. I mean, she got a house for free. I'll take your 1,200 square foot house.
I want to marry her.
I just don't know what happens to somebody's a young person's brain like that. How did they get like
I don't
that?
know. Maybe the
Well,
doctors
they don't understand anything about how the brain works, so they wouldn't think that you're going to hire a psychic medium and talk to your baby in utero to find out if they want to be born.
Hey,
or
little
not.
Bobby, you want to
Or
come
they
out
say,
of here or no?
"Nah, suck me out of here. Come on.
I don't want to come out here. I don't like it. Joe Biden's running the country. I'm out.
God, suck me out of here. That'll be the new,
We'll all just sound with the Trump hairdo and stuff.
new slogan instead of "get me out of here." Suck me out of here.
Suck me sideways. Come on out.
Wow. Guys
Yep.
are bad.
Well, it makes me think that these kids are really getting indoctrinated. They're really something's happening to
They're
these young
mentally ill. That's
She's
illness.
definitely
That's
mentally ill.
Say it again.
That's illness.
It is illness.
It
I
is.
know.
She's definitely crazy.
How do they survive in the wild?
I want to know what she's doing today. Is she working? I mean, they bought the house probably outright, so she's probably got just taxes to pay. But who's paying the taxes?
Where she live? Road
Well, the
trip.
parents are probably paying the taxes too.
Yeah, here's a privileged kid who grew up rich, basically.
Yep.
Right? She's loaded.
Well, she had a
family's loaded.
swimming pool, tennis court, movie theater.
And
Yeah.
they didn't have to give her anything when she was 18, but they were nice enough to buy her house and said, "Here you go." What she should have said was, "Thanks, Mom and Dad."
Yeah.
No, I'm going to sue you because I need my lifestyle for the rest of my life.
There's an article in the Heritage Foundation. The headline is, "I'm a former teacher. Here's how your children are getting indoctrinated by leftist ideology." It looks pretty interesting, and they talk about some of the key takeaways from the article. It isn't just a matter of actively teaching that America and the West are evil. Suppression of wrong think is equally as important to the brainwashing process. So, in other words, this piece here, teaching them that America is evil, but then suppression of wrong think. So, in other words, if some kid says, "No, I don't think America's evil," "Oh, whoa, you're," so then the punishment comes. Right.
What do you know?
Right. The other key takeaway from the article says the young adults who today gleefully tear down statues of the founding fathers were incubated in our very own schools, which is true.
Right.
Because now, how old are these kids tearing down statues? 20, maybe? 18, 20? Go ahead.
It just made me think of something else because I was watching a moon landing skeptic documentary thing last night for a while, and I'm thinking, okay, all right. Then I thought today, listening to Scott Adams talking about 4 levels of how much lying can happen before you actually start saying, okay, I'm just going to write my own story now. But for people that are caught up on things like the moon landing, okay, they lied to us. Oh my God, end of the world. They lie to us about everything.
Everything.
Everything is a lie. So this is why you have to do the cost benefit analysis. Every time you look at something, like, wait, where's this going? What's it going to cost? Who's it benefiting? Who's it harming? Hopefully, complicated process. But that's why it's stuff like this. Well, what are they teaching our kids? They're teaching us that the country's bad. The founding fathers were bad. Everything is evil. We're all racists.
Well, this guy says your children are being indoctrinated. The education system is designed to teach them how to think critically. The education system designed to teach them how to think critically has been weaponized by the radical left to push an anti-American agenda. He says conservatives must demand an end to the indoctrination of our youth or face a new American public taught since childhood that the country shouldn't exist. He's worked with kids from ages 3 to 13, saw the brainwashing that exists at all levels of education. He says, first, it's the propaganda. Teachers will assign work instilling the idea that the pillars of Western civilization are evil and their memories deserve to be thrown in the trash. That's another thing. So get rid of the memories.
Tear down the statues.
Tear down the statues, yep. And then somebody says, here's an example. I was helping one of my elementary school students with homework assignment about listing famous Britons through history, and she already had some of the more obvious ones: Shakespeare, Princess Diana, Queen Elizabeth. And then they said, well, how about Winston Churchill? He recommended. Oh, no, not him, she replied. He was racist and didn't think women should have rights. He wasn't a good guy. So these kids are already coming into class with this preconceived notion.
Scary, right?
You gotta love how she knows
Yeah.
Churchill, which never met him, or the person who was telling you that never met him, or that person's mom never met him. It's a generational never met this man, but you're just like, anybody can say someone's a racist, but
Oh, look what they say about Trump.
Prove it.
Look at all the stuff they say about Trump.
Prove it.
People actually believe that
they
stuff.
can't prove it though. That's the funny
can't.
thing. When
I
you
know.
ask them, say, "Really? Name one thing." And then they're gone.
And they think we're crazy, you know.
Dust
Saw
cloud.
somebody today say something about, oh, you know, next thing you're going to say is that the Pope and Ronald Reagan wrote the Constitution. Like, huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. He goes on to say the Black Lives Matter organization is a prime example of this. Many of my colleagues, he says, wore Black Lives Matter pins and apparel to school in blatant violation of school rules forbidding political statement on clothing. When I asked for a justification of the behavior, I was told it wasn't political to support the group. It was a matter of human rights. The children would see these pins and clothes and connect radical leftist groups with basic human dignity. How dare you question Black Lives Matter? I thought this is a matter of human rights. And but it isn't just a matter of actively teaching that America and the West are evil. Suppression of wrongthink is equally as important to the brainwashing process. The lessons I was allowed to teach were also censored, he says.
And there's no fixing that, right? We all know now that Black Lives Matter was a scam operation.
Scam from the
People
start.
Took the money and it
I
was
bet
all
you
typical
not
scam.
$1 went to the hood.
No.
Not only a scam, but destructive, burning down buildings and all that stuff.
Who cares about that?
But
Don't be racist.
but what's her name there? I don't remember her name. I really don't care about her. But she spent $90 million of that money. She's not in prison.
Oh, Patrice Cullors?
She's not in prison.
That doesn't matter.
That's me and you
Trump
start
got a good loan.
White Lives Matter organization
What did I
and
say?
take in $100 million, and then me and you and John will just spend it on luxurious houses all over the world. You watch how fast our white butts are in prison.
I know.
You won't even see us. I'll be like, where'd those guys go? Club fed.
He also says the suppression extends to American religious values as well. I would try to engage my students with folk stories from around the globe to teach them world history and other cultures. This reminds me of now recently they're starting with this Christian nationalist. They're starting to label people Christian nationalists. So they've already demonized the word nationalist, right? Go ahead.
Well, that's part of what I was saying about, you know, the Pope and Ronald Reagan writing the Constitution. It's like, ooh, anything related to religion or right-wing thinking is just bad automatically. So we have to suppress that. And how often have they done it? They've banned people for years, right, off of social media sources and stuff. It's just, it's so clear when you're looking at it like that.
He says the young adults who today gleefully tear down statues of the Founding Fathers were incubated in our very own schools, groomed to burst from the education system and burn America down. The left argues the great men and women who built this nation are problematic and must be destroyed. Conservatives must demand an end to the indoctrination of our youth or face a new American public taught since childhood that the country shouldn't exist. So I just thought it was a pretty cool article because it actually points out the stuff. Yeah. Go ahead. Any comments?
I was just saying, my girlfriend is just leaving the state education department. And I've read paperwork about the curriculum and how teachers are supposed to approach all this stuff, and it's It's nuts. It's insane.
Like what? What are they saying?
Well, just in the way you're supposed to treat like pronoun issues and
Oh,
other
God.
kinds of issues where, things like Columbus and all these things that, again, we've all looked at for our whole lives and said, okay, and now it's all of a sudden we haven't changed and we're all the bad guy. But we have to tell the children that your parents are the bad guys. The way they started this years ago with the recycling stuff, right? Oh, report your parents if they're not recycling.
Oh,
Like, wait a minute.
yeah. I didn't think about that.
Jeez.
My mom didn't throw out a plastic cup. That's it. Send her to prison, Mikey.
My mom's got bacon grease in a coffee can in the refrigerator. Is that good, bad? What is that?
That's true. They turned recycling into almost a political thing, right?
And just like everything else, we've learned that it's not financially feasible. So let's tell the truth about that. Get it out there. Like a lot of these things, all the alternative energy stuff. Okay, it might work here. It might be good. It might not be good. Let's look at all the factors involved and try to come up with some kind of rational way of viewing this stuff.
No,
instead of emotional everything.
Now you're racist.
I know.
And you hate the environment.
You're a recycling racist.
I'm a heavily closeted racist.
You're anti-biology.
What's your pronoun?
What's your pronoun?
Meatball.
All right, we got to take a short break. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. Anthony's got a story. Unbelievable. Lots of good stuff coming up, so stick around. Right back.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
Our founding fathers saw them coming over 200 years away. That's why they wrote the Second Amendment. Join us in the fight to preserve your gun rights and stop unconstitutional gun control. Gun Owners of America is the country's only no-compromise gun rights organization. Not only do we inform and educate, but we bring the fight to court and win. Your God-given right to keep and bear arms is our top priority. Become a member today and help us take back America. Join us at gunowners.org. Well, so go ahead, John. You're talking.
I was listening to a radio show the other day, and somebody had called into the host and was saying about how ex-military man, pro Second Amendment, everything else, and then I'm like, okay, and then he gets, but I really don't know why we should have anybody needs to have an AR-15.
There he is.
He's just like stepping off the cliff right off the bat. It's good enough for me, whatever I want, but what you want, that's dangerous.
I wonder if these guys are really, like ex-military. It could have been a whole fake thing, right?
Well, I doubt it. It was a local show, so I'm doubting it.
Well, I mean, the leftists will paint swastikas on buildings, to try to blame people for it. Why wouldn't they do? I don't know. I don't trust anything they do.
Nothing.
Speaking of leftists, they seem to see racism everywhere, and when they can't find it, they fabricate it to support their own worldview. Maybe they do this because they've devoted themselves to an invalid cause and need to trick themselves into believing that they're still virtuous while pushing irrational views. So I got this article here from Breitbart. A professor says, you're not going to believe this, a professor says the Chiefs Super Bowl win, is white supremacy. It's slightly racist.
That damn leather football.
She says it's slightly racist to be a Taylor Swift fan. So in Breitbart, they say an unhinged professor of Pan-African Studies. What is Pan-African Studies? Does anybody know what that is?
He doesn't even know what the hell that means.
At Cal State University, Los Angeles, has proclaimed the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl win as an example of white supremacy, and that being a Taylor Swift fan is slightly racist. I think being a Taylor Swift fan is slightly gay, but not racist.
She's a left-wing psycho.
Yeah.
She's a left-wing. You're talking about a left-wing Biden psycho supporter. So wait a minute. So this black woman is saying that Taylor Swift is
well, she says being a Taylor Swift fan is
racist.
Slightly racist.
Oh, slightly. How do you become slightly racist Do you just say NIG and not the rest? How is she working that? Do you say crack, but you don't say cur? Is that what we're doing? You're a crack.
That's what you're doing.
I don't know.
I think it's pretty funny.
These people
That's
are
what you're
stupid.
doing.
An X post, and we're going to show you this post here in a second. An X post by Professor Melina Abdullah, whose real name is whose real name is Melina Rachel Ryman. So she changed her name from Melina Rachel Ryman to Melina Abdullah. Why would you do that? Anyway, her tweet has gone viral, in which she turned the Chiefs Super Bowl 58 win into a racist conspiracy theory, the New York Post reported. Do we have that? There it is.
I didn't watch.
Look at this. Why do I feel like this was some right-wing white supremacy conspiracy? Boo! Super Bowl.
What the hell is she talking about?
The vast majority of the team is black.
90% of the Chiefs team is black. There's like 4 white guys on the team.
What is going on?
Where is the racism coming? Where is the racism coming from?
Something to do with Taylor Swift? I don't know what's wrong with these people. I don't know what they're thinking. It's insanity.
They're not thinking.
And besides that, what is Pan-Africanist?
She don't know what the hell pan is. She's a pan.
She's a Pan-Africanist. These people, I'm telling you, these people are just looking for insane
You know what? It's an attention. It's all about just getting attention. And clicks on her stupid.
Well, that's the thing. Is what makes me think is I think some of these people are now using AI.
How many hits? How many hits did that thing have on it?
I don't know.
How many times? 12 people loved it. You're a loser.
But I think people are
How's
just
that?
They're putting stuff up just to get attention, and somebody's advising them on how.
Hey,
If
I
that
think-
went viral, obviously somebody knew how to put up a post that
See-
was going to go viral. That's the new business model out there.
AI is dangerous.
So in that
It is
respect,
absolutely dangerous, and I'm telling you, AI can. They're doing some weird stuff with AI right now. Like, they just did George Carlin in AI, but as a left-wing comedy show.
Well,
they just came out with that.
that was a little weak.
They say that this
It looks
particular
just like him.
this particular woman, Abdullah, this Pan-Africanist, was actually born in Oakland, California.
There's your first problem.
not anywhere in Africa. Perhaps unsurprisingly, her father, John Ryman, is a self-proclaimed Trotskyist.
The hell is
Do
that?
we know what
John,
that
look
is?
that
Do we
up.
know what-
Russian.
He was against. Danny says he was against Lenin.
You Bolshevik.
A Trotskyist communist and a Union thug was her father was. Even her grandfather was a member of the Communist Party in Germany, and yes, that means her father is white. It was Stalin. Okay, so a Trotskyist is against Stalin, correct, Danny? Yep. Okay.
It's all John's fault.
Nonetheless, Abdullah is sure that everything is racist.
Yep.
So that's the thing. They're just convinced. I mean, they get convinced that everything is racist. They see everything through a racist lens, and I just that's how they see the world, right?
And they don't analyze any further because they've already satisfied their own idea of, well, I'm right. Okay, that's what I believe. They agree. That's good.
Yeah. and
How
this-
simple is that, though? If you only have to think, you only have to understand one thing and understand it like in reverse of how it actually is. But that's a pretty simple worldview. That's racist. That's racist. That's the hierarchy over there. Look at that. It's
Yeah, I
all
don't
the same
like
thing.
you. You're a racist.
Everything the way it is
Red
bad, and we're going to blame them and call them out and destroy the whole world in the process. That's where we're at.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pit everybody against each other. But I mean, I don't know if you want to pit 77% of the population against 10%. How's that going to work out?
Are you talking about blacks putting
Yeah.
blacks against whites?
Yeah, it's stupid. and 90% of black people don't even care.
Yeah.
They don't. It's morons like her who keep it running.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Nobody's
12
calling them up and
idiots-
saying, represent me because I'm
And the
oppressed."
12
Nobody's
idiots
doing
that hearted her stupid post. 12 people. You're really hitting it off, Abdullah.
Yep. Well, there is something a little funny. I wanted to show a little funny if you haven't seen this one yet. President Trump imitates crooked Joe Biden on stage. This is very funny. Watch this clip.
That's what they.
You know, when I imitate Biden, because he can't find his way off the stage, as you all know, he makes a speech that lasts usually about a minute and a half because the octane starts to wear off at a quickly. You ever notice he starts off strong? Within about 2 minutes, he can't talk anymore. And then he walks off. You ever notice he always goes like this? Then he comes back up to the mic, and he's looking, he's totally lost. There's stairs all over the place. He can go there, here. He could jump off the front of the damn platform. But he always goes like this.
He is ridiculing Biden.
But morons will still vote for him.
Well,
That's the scary part.
Yeah, I know. So you want to know who's fighting for your gun rights? Gun Owners of America. Now, GOA is the no compromise gun rights group. I urge you to become a member at gunowners.org. What have they done? Well, I'll tell you. GOA has secured a preliminary injunction against the ATF pistol brace rule. GOA members submitted a record 85,000 plus comments opposing the ATF's universal registration check rule. They helped enact permitless carry in Nebraska and Florida. GOA secured victories in California, Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Plus, they won 2 legal victories against the ATF's zero tolerance policy. We talked about zero tolerance policy before. And GOA fought to overturn Joe Biden's ban on funding hunter education, shooting sports, and archery in schools. So with the constant attack on our Second Amendment, we often ask ourselves, what can I do about it? Well, this is what you can do. Become a member at gunowners.org and help us save the Second Amendment.
Did you see that was that Michigan, the Muslim community, which is huge in Michigan because that's where they shipped them all. They're not voting for anybody.
Okay.
Now, how is that good or bad? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the way I look at it is if you have 100 people that are voting and one person, let's say you have 50 people voting for Democrats, 50 voting for Republican. If you have one Republican not vote, now you've changed your percentages from now you're down, you're not 50% anymore, you're 40%. And the Democrats are still 50%, right?
Well, yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of the Muslims there. And they're saying they're not voting for Biden because they don't trust him, but they're not voting for Trump either. So they're going to not vote at all.
Well, at least it cancels out there because if you don't, I guess the way I look at it is if you don't vote, you're giving the other side a half a vote.
If you have a side. Maybe they don't have a side. That's what he's saying.
Oh, right.
They don't really have a position, so they're just not going to vote. I'd rather have that happen than have them get paid off to vote for one side or the other, right? That's not good.
Right. Well,
it's our side.
I'm more worried about cheating. I'm more worried.
Yeah.
And there's an article here in Daily Caller.
I think Kamala already said that.
Did she say anything, really?
No, she was interviewing. She says, we are going to win.
Oh, yeah.
We will win.
They got something up their sleeve.
They do. They're gonna let that disease out, that new one.
Well, in this article, it's called Election Reform is a Marathon, Not a Sprint. Voters are well acquainted with what unfolds when liberal election lawyers overhaul election laws on the fly. Chaos, confusion, and delays that make for a grueling ballot box experience. Amid the 2020 election cycle, partisan lawyers such as Mark Elias used the COVID-19 pandemic to distinguishedly force new voting rules on states and overhaul the election process to their political advantage. He goes on to say, for upcoming elections, it will take more than traditional voting reforms to thwart partisan election meddling and bolster confidence in results. Honest Elections Project recently released its 2024 Safeguard Our Elections report, outlines key election reforms, boasting popular support that makes it easier to vote and harder to cheat. My question is, what is the committee, the National GOP committee, doing to prevent? What are they going to do? Are they going to put people everywhere at all the polling places? Or
I don't think they have a plan in place.
Well, what's her name just resigned, right?
Yes.
Ronna McDaniel.
She's
Yeah,
gone.
She didn't seem to do much. I mean, we were counting on her to make sure that the Democrats didn't cheat. I mean, she was the chairman of the GOP.
She helped them.
This guy says dark money donors are pouring millions of dollars into a nationwide campaign to push measures such as California-style jungle primaries that require all candidates run against each other at the same time under RCV, under the guise of building more representative democracy. I'm not sure what I think about that. That sounds kind of weird.
I love that word.
Oh, democracy.
So
Yeah.
they're talking about the primaries there?
Yeah, it looks like dark money donors pouring $1 million into a nationwide campaign to push measures California-style jungle primaries. Yeah, that require candidates to run against each other at the same time under RCV, under the guise of building a more representative democracy.
It's the same time. I mean, the primary day is primary day, right?
Yeah, yeah. Left-wing elites love RCV because it gives them a disproportionate influence over election outcomes. Well, that's probably why. 5 states have held the foresight to ban RCV already, and others are advancing bills right now to repeal or end ranked choice voting. But that isn't stopping the left. Goes on to say a left-wing group called Center for Tech and Civic Life doled out $350 million in grants using funds from Mark Zuckerberg. CTCL gave more money to areas that voted for Joe Biden and coaxed government offices into acting like partisan get-out-the-vote campaigns. They work overtime to push liberal politics into these offices through training programs, awards, and educational materials that reshape these offices from inside. He goes on to say, even with strong election laws in place to prevent political tampering, some offices may not follow them. That's why it's crucial that every election office is routinely audited to ensure the laws being followed. Problems are identified and resolved, and the officials are held accountable for sloppiness or process violations when necessary. This is what I'm worried about. What happens next time, or this next upcoming election, when they shut down the vote count again, or when another pipe bursts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's when, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping people say last straw. Now it's time to do something, but I don't know. Just it's simple. They're making it sound difficult to vote, but we've been voting
forever
with an ID.
Yep. Vote in person.
When I go to my voting area, I walk in, show my ID, I sign my name under my other signature, put my stupid paper in, and that's it. Mail-in ballots need to go. No more. If you can't get your fat, slobby, whatever you are, lazy butt out of bed and go vote, then you don't vote.
Or you have to apply for that, like you always had to. I took last election.
They're just giving them out last time.
I got 6 at my apartment. 6 ballots mailed to my apartment.
That's crazy.
I got
with
5.
no names on them. Resident.
Yeah.
What the heck is that? Okay.
There lies the problem.
Yeah.
Just think about how many dead people voted in 2020.
I know.
I bet you my father voted. He died 10 days after the election.
Wow.
I guarantee it.
No,
There's no way Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Not a chance in hell did that man get 81 million alive people.
If you believe that he actually won the election, you have to believe that stupid Joe Biden got more votes than any other president in presidential history.
No
And
way.
you have to believe that the election process, unlike every other government process ever, is perfectly fine and not corrupt at all. There's no problems, no questions. Like, yeah, that's perfect.
This is the problem that I have. Anytime, and I was poll watching in my town because we had one election that we were afraid the Democrats were going to try to cheat, and There's always a Republican and a Democrat doing that when people come up to sign the thing. And the Democrat wanted to let all these people go who were just scribbling and the signatures didn't match up. I'm looking at the signatures because I was poll watching. I wasn't really interacting a lot with the people. And the Democrat was like, oh, whatever. So people come in and just scribble something on a paper, and I'm looking at the signature, and it didn't match up at all. And I said to the Democrat, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, you got to check his license, his license or whatever. Oh, it's not a big deal. So the Democrats, they don't even care about that stuff.
No,
they don't.
That happened locally.
That was locally, yeah.
Were you carrying?
So.
That's why they call it concealed.
So
business.
I don't want.
But Anthony has a story. Before we run out of time here, Anthony had a story, right?
Yeah, John knows it better than I do, I think.
I know it pretty good.
All right, then you know what? I think you should lead it.
Go ahead.
No, you
I don't
lead it.
remember what
You
it
do
is
it
now.
Do it, crack.
I'm not focused.
Well, I'll get the headline and get you guys going on it. The headline is from Louder with Crowder, and it's Black Harvard professor released a study saying cops are not racially biased. He needed armed security as a result. So go ahead. What's this all about?
Remember, he's black.
He's black.
Oh, jeez.
So what's
and
this?
He needs protection from
who? From other black people?
his own people.
Okay. Tell us about
he did
it.
a study. John knows this a little better than I do, but he did a study on
I read it.
racial profiling of black officers and black citizens, and he came up with two different studies that came up with the same result from two different sets of people, that there's no racial bias on the police towards blacks. If anything, it's them killing other races more, of white, Chinese, whatever, and Hispanics. And now everybody's up in arms because a study came out, and it's actually true that it doesn't happen, but the leftists won't believe it. Now this poor guy who was who's probably one of the youngest ever to be into Harvard has to walk around armed security now because his life is in danger.
So let me get this straight. There's a study that he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did a study to see if blacks were actually being
killed more by white officers as being profiled.
There is a tweet here. It says, "We didn't find any racial bias in police shootings." Economist Roland Fryer tells whoever about the 2016 paper on policing bias that led to his need for an armed guard for over a month, and the academics who told him not to publish it. So they don't want you to know that. They want you to think that police are killing.
They don't want you to know the
It hurts
truth.
their narrative. It hurts their narrative. Racism is everywhere, and cops are bad people. Yeah. Everyone's human. I mean, but 9 times out of 10, there are more white people than there are black people. So, yeah, obviously white people are going to get killed in higher numbers.
What are the percentages? I think white people are in the 70s.
77%.
77. What are, how many black?
11%.
And from what I understand, that 11% of the population is responsible for 50% of the violent crime in America.
And again, not to judge anybody by that.
That's racist.
But again, cost benefit. Let's look at all the numbers. Don't just.
So
look
what's
at some
causing it?
numbers.
Yeah, I'm not blaming black people. I'm just saying, what's the problem
Do
here?
you know how much it costs us?
Racist.
What's the problem here? There's a problem, right?
Right. Do you know how much it costs a year to house those prisoners?
That's why they're not arresting people for shoplifting and stuff. They don't want anybody more in jail.
$81 billion a year we spend on incarcerated people, and 1 in 7 are on death row. 1 in 7 are on death row. I have a problem with death row because if it's clear cut that you killed somebody, then you need to go. Why spend 50 years in jail? I mean, if you killed my family member, I don't want you alive for 50 years on my dime.
Right.
Just kill him.
Just kill him.
Just kill him. If it's a clear cut, you did it. Like literally 100%, you did it. Bye.
Yeah.
That's it. You should not be spending like Charles Manson. You're never going to figure out that nut job. The guy put out 100 albums. Like he has a recording studio. What the hell is going on, John?
In jail?
He has a studio in jail and he sells music. Hello, what are we doing, John?
You should hire me.
You're out here struggling.
Exactly.
And Charles Manson has a studio in prison.
Our tax dollars at work.
Look up Charles Manson's country records. He has hundreds of them.
I don't think I'm interested.
You
Come
should.
on, Dan.
God.
Next party, I'll DJ.
But they only kept him alive because they want to figure his brain out. You're never going to figure that guy out. If anything, he's going to make you go out and do something stupid. That's how crazy he is.
Yeah.
Make you go.
He's going to make. Well, to wrap up this story, the Harvard professor said that all hell broke loose and he was forced to go out in public with armed security after he published a study that found no evidence of racial bias in police
Because
shootings.
nobody likes to hear the truth.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
The truth hurts, and that's what it is.
But the political left needs that narrative out there. They need to set up black people as victims and white people as oppressors. They're trying to divide, and it's probably the worst thing that could ever happen to a society. No?
I think so.
And people are just too small-brained to figure out that they're being used.
Yeah.
I don't see racism anywhere. I don't know. Have you encountered a white guy doing, or a black guy doing? I don't.
Over the years, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of black clients, and because I'm accused weekly of being a racist from various people.
Other white people, probably.
Absolutely.
That's the best part. You're a racist from the other
look
white
back
guy.
at that, and I'm going, I had black people in my band when I was 14. Like what? Okay, so how did I develop this feeling of racism? What does it look like? First of all, right? You're racist. What does that mean? What do I do? Well, you don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah, you're just inherently racist.
You're racist.
Okay, I'll believe you telling me about me. Good point.
You're racist because he was the bass player.
Well, they're convinced of it too. These leftists are convinced of that nonsense. They're convinced that you, just because you're white, you're inherently racist.
And a liar, because if I tell them that I don't see all the things that they say that I must see, I'm a liar. Yeah. So not only am I racist, I'm a liar.
And you don't know you're a
down
racist.
the well, like what? Just make enemies of everyone.
I love that one with Webb. Why can't I think of Webb's first name? The radio
Jack?
guy. No, Jack Webb. Anyway, he
but the facts, man.
A black. He's interviewing a black woman, and David Webb. Thank you, Danny. David Webb, great radio host, talk show host, and he's interviewing this woman who's black, and she says, "Well, she says something to the effect, well, that's because you're racist and white, and you don't understand, and blah blah blah," and he's going, "Excuse me, I'm black," because she couldn't see him. So she just
so he had a white man's voice.
Right.
But an exchange that took place on the radio yesterday between host David Webb and legal analyst Ariva Martin was pretty embarrassing for her.
That's a whole nother long conversation about white privilege and things that you have the privilege of doing that people of color don't have the privilege of.
How do I have the privilege of white privilege?
David, by virtue of being a white male, you have white privilege.
Ariva, I hate to break it to you, but you should have been better prepped. I'm black.
Okay. Boom. David Webb joins us, the host of Fox Nation's Reality Check. David, when she said that to you, obviously you were not face-to-face?
No, we were not. We were on the radio, which is what obviously makes this really interesting to me. That forget tone, voice, being prepped, as I said to her, she immediately defaulted to an attack, which is a false narrative. There is no such thing as white privilege. There's earned privilege in life that you work for. There are those who may have a form of privilege that they exert on others in a form of influence. But this is about more than just what she said and the embarrassment, and she should be, but the default to this easy false narrative.
So she just instantly assumed that he was white, and as a result of being white, he must be racist. And yeah, funny. David Webb's
Well, she must have felt real stupid after that.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, probably. She probably found a way to justify it.
She probably said, "You know what? You sound white. You should go back."
Yeah, try saying that.
Yeah.
I've been telling leftists they sound vaccinated.
You sound vaxxed.
You sound vaxxed.
You sound vaxxed.
You crazy vaxxer.
You all right? You sound vaccinated. Anyway.
What's your eye doing?
I'm not, yeah, your one eye's getting
Freaking me out.
getting a little weird
I don't
over
know which
there.
one I want to follow.
We got to wrap up. But thanks for watching Loaded Mike on Rumble. We're also on Right America Media, Ops Lens, the Key Radio Network, Simul TV, and you can find the podcast anywhere on any podcast platform. I'm Dan Wass, and the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.